Hello, this is a Brave Knight Mercenary spotlight on Alche. I don't know. Alche is a 4-star warrior. She is Vermont's granddaughter and is blessed with inhuman strength. Alche's companion is Lora, and she became Alche's hairstylist because Alche's hair was the hair that she's been seeking all this time. Like, she saw Alche's hair before it was curled and said it was my destiny to curl this hair. I initially pondered how stupid the story was, but it's kind of relatable. Sometimes you see something and you feel that it calls to you. It's your destiny. It's the same destiny that calls me to eat Denny's with friends at freaking 2 to 5 a.m. for no good reason. COVID actually got me reminiscing about Denny's. That's really sad. I'm not going to pretend I have the palate of a Michelin star chef, but Denny kind of sucks. I'll briefly go over Alche's skills, gameplay style, and provide some of my opinions on her. I won't be going over the details of her skills, but just the general parts of it. I linked the Brave Knight Encyclopedia in the video description where you can easily read on her stats and skill values. Alche's first skill is Protection Nullifier. Before Alche's normal attack, she removes any barriers on her enemies. At +6 and above, it also prevents an enemy from receiving barriers for 24 turns. Alche's second skill is Crit Damage Boost. After normal attack, Alche gains a stat enhancement that boosts her crit damage. At +3 and above, it also boosts her attack. Alche's third skill is Mighty Bash. After normal attack, Alche deals defense ignoring additional damage to defenders and supports based on their attack stat. Remember that this only applies to supports and defenders. Warriors and mages will not take any damage from this skill. Alche's awakening skill is Reflective Counter Nullifier. Before normal attack, Alche removes any reflective counters on the enemy. Alche is a simple and straightforward warrior designed to deal a lot of damage to defenders and supports while also removing barriers and reflective counters. Alche's tiles is very powerful, sporting the X-tile attack range. Alche's additional damage to defenders and supports also ignores defense, so Alche has a very strong matchup against any novice arena tank and can even take out some 5-star tank too. Alche's preferred runes are Assault, but Alche gets a lot of crit damage and attack, but no crit rate. It may be worth considering one very powerful Fatal rune to bring her to 100% crit rate on her own, or closer to 100% crit rate on her own in case that her support ends up dying, because an Alche that does not crit will do very little damage. I'll go over what Alche counters. Alche eats up anything that is a 4-star defender or support even if they have high defense. Mora, Ian, and Exile are some important ones to know since they have conditions to have high defense. Carlson's skill set synergizes with defense, so naturally he ends up having issues too with Alche. Even some 5-star defenders or supports that have high defense but fairly low HP are possible kills for a buffed Alche. Alche can kill Orvina, Galania, and Sola. Her base damage is good enough to take out most 4-star warriors too if they lack defensive stats. Deka, Aizen, and other Alches are some good examples. Alche's ability to remove reflective counters also make her very useful against Sui, Brissa, and Hell. Wait, do people still even run Hell in Novice Arena? Well, if they do, Alche can mess her up. Alche also removes barriers as well, which hurts supports like Saris. Alche's barrier prohibition lasts up to 24 turns, so she could really disable some supports that rely on barriers. I'll go over some Alche counters now. So to counter Alche, you simply hit her with something that hurts. But to block her, utilize somewhat of a tanky mage or warrior since their additional damage does not apply to them. Jaden is a 3-star option that works, considering he has a massive life pool for a 3-star unit that could withstand Alche's hit possibly, and he's also a mage. Warriors that can reach high amounts of defense, damage reduction, or agility can also present issues to Alche. Maxwell, Brissa, Cry, and Camila are some noteworthy options. So some synergies with Alche. Alche prefers supports that can push her base crit rate of 40% to 100%. Isabel is a solid option. Hephasia actually does not push Alche's crit rate to 100%, but Alche can compensate by running crit runes. More crit damage means more security in Alche killing defenders and supports. Some defenders carry huge damage reduction stats, which can screw over Alche since her additional damage only ignores defense. Compensating with more damage will ensure that she produces results. Speaking of Hephasia, any unit that provides stats weakening immunity and attack interference immunity also is valuable. Saris is fantastic. Ebony works, and Serendia can provide debuff cleanse while also giving Saris a valuable ability to trigger silence with their large AoE attack. Alche also has a set bonus with her grandpa Vermont and Daniel. I don't know if Daniel's related to these two. The set bonus increases HP, but you shouldn't care much to play around it. Vermont is not really a relevant unit until he gets his companion update, and well, Alche with more HP doesn't really matter too much, so yeah. Okay, so for my opinion, Alche is a much needed improvement to Novice Arena. A lot of players expressed some frustration on dealing with Sui. Some players felt that Sui was mandatory in Novice Arena, and while I don't think that's necessarily true, I do understand their frustrations, especially given that some players missed out on her. Alche was reworked to counter that specific strategy while also ensuring Novice Arena tanks do not go out of control. I'm looking at you, Iris, you annoying, charming bitch. So yeah, Alche is conceptually simple. Hit people, remove their barriers and counters, do defense ignoring damage if they're a defender or support, and pass go and collect $200. So should you build Alche? My answer is yes, if you play Novice Arena or intend to. She's valuable in those modes. Alche works at any skill levels, but building her up will drastically improve her performance. Her plus 15 spike isn't that mandatory, but rather is just a nice to have, so you can prioritize building up soul gears for other characters if you like. If you play Novice Arena, you want to gradually build her up to plus 14. She is a 4-star, so it shouldn't be that bad. Overall, Alche is a healthy addition to the Novice Arena metagame to check annoying tanks and supports. Sui and Iris, beat the hammer. Thanks for watching my Alche Mercenary Spotlight. Please like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful. Thank you.